Nytt är inte det, ganska gammalt, 2016 kanske. Då kom det här. Ska se. 3. Släpptes 2017. Så inte alls gammalt.
Ready for the thunder, Rev?
I am ready.
Där ska man nog
I got a feeling about this one.
Is it a good feeling?
efterföljare
I'll let you know in a minute.
Dungeon Base.
Life's definitely more complicated with the destruction twins running the crater. So exciting! Right.
Sorry, det var lite Netflix i bakgrunden apparently.
Ah, the Still Learning the Ropes evil had decided to try the excellent tutorials. Good choice. In this childishly simple introductory mission, it would learn the basics of dungeon management. Things like digging, building rooms, and hiring and firing creatures. Everything a novice evil needs to know. First of all, it admired the center of its power, the dungeon heart. This, if possible, should never be broken, as that would lead to an inglorious and permanent end to the definitely wanting to avoid this at all costs evil. Naturally, the most important resource for any evil genius was gold. One can make the best things out of the glittering metal, and nary a creature was going to let the absolute evil hire it and push it around without a coin or two. Sad, I know, but that's the way the cold, hard, capitalist world of evil works. Although a little gold could also be stored in the dungeon heart, the little snots, the strange name giving evil's workers, had to travel long distances to do so. It made much more sense to build a treasury nearby. The fast-learning evil immediately began doing so.
Okay. Det kan bli lite beroende från kalendern. Kan inte hugga ner nu då? Hur gör ni? Vad är det som händer? Varför har ni lagt alla pengarna här för? Varför slår ni inte så många? Nej, tack. Vad konstigt. Jaha. Jag har byggt det här, eller? Okay, that will work.
Sometimes the bored evil's little snots didn't work quickly enough. That was the time to give them a hearty slap with the hand of terror. Naturally, this had to be done immediately.
Ja, men det är.
The calculating evil threw a cagey glance at its population limits. These were divided into little snots and creatures. As opposed to creatures, little snots did not have to be hired separately, but were always regenerated up to the maximum limit. And so it was that the massacring evil didn't have to worry if one of these miserable creatures died. It simply had to wait for the next one. At the same time, the little snots were the dungeon workers who dug the galleries, mined the gold, and took care of any number of other things. That's why it was never a bad idea to increase their maximum limit. The thirsty for more little snots evil hurriedly began work. The corresponding research was kindly unlocked for the absolute evil. This was necessary. Unfortunately, creatures were a little more demanding than the miserable little snots. A hideout would have to be researched before creatures such as goblins and orcs could be hired. As loyal as the little snots were, they were unable to fight and took to their heels in panicked flight at the first sight of an enemy. Sighing, the unscrupulous evil set about providing a hideout.
Okay. Ah, jag kan inte spela kameran. Vad fan? Okay. Jag ska inte rotera kameran. Horde creatures set up camp in a hideout to satisfy the safe on the hill and them. Yeah? Huh? Yep. No? Unified plan of life. Energy and good arms, blind reach. Nullified the camp taking a diesel all down. Okay. DPS, time.
The army craving evil had hired a creature which would from now on do its dirty work. However, each creature consumed a population point. Fortunately, these could be increased just like the number of workers. Should it become necessary to recover a population point, the maliciously grinning evil could always use the egress located at its dungeon heart. Simply toss the creature onto it, a little pull of the lever, and oh, whoops. Well, there it goes. These creatures were pretty spoiled. Not only did Horde creatures demand their own bunks, they also wanted something to eat. Otherwise, they would soon refuse to do any work whatsoever and go on strike. The deeply sighing evil had no other choice than to build his creatures a gobbler farm to satisfy their hunger.
Gobbler.
Excellent work. The gobbler farm was now ready. Later, the creatures would also demand other things, but for now, they were satisfied. The fast-learning evil had mastered the first tutorial with flying colors. Excellent work.
Svårt för det här. Blah, 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 blah.
Evil, evilness. The fast-learning evil quickly set about sending its creatures into the overworld.
Det här tutorial så fan. Main campaign.
The shadow of absolute evil. The shadow of absolute evil had crossed the sea and now sought the chosen target, a dark elf named Talia. A long, long time ago. The absolute evil had, in the famous predecessor to this game, subjugated the known world and defeated good. Now, in a world full of blackness and despair, it spent its days sipping cocktails from the skulls of its enemies and forging new plans over a grilled unicorn kebab. Unfortunately, there wasn't much left to forge. A few orc wedges, the occasional trick played on the little snots. There just wasn't anything left to conquer. As the weeks and months passed, the absolute evil grew ever more reticent and seclusive. From time to time, one could hear a slight murmur from the depressed evil's super-secret laboratory in the depths of the dungeon. its creatures grew more worried with each passing day, and
Sådär,
even
ja.
started to miss its ingenious evil tricks. It was a somewhat confusing time for them. No beatings, no torture, and no being sent to a senseless death. On the other hand, it was a rather nice change. Eons passed, and the unicorn supply dwindled until suddenly, one wonderful day, the evil genius Evil joyfully burst from its super secret laboratory. It finally had a new goal. An unknown continent, as often found in sequels, lay to the east, sheltered from the wicked Evil by naught but a puny little ocean. It immediately had a fleet built. This was so powerful that it covered the horizon from north to south and was manned by the best and most powerful creatures at the devious Evil's command. The fleet set sail for the crossing to this new continent, left the harbor, and sank. Yet that mattered naught to the couldn't give a hoot about its minions Evil. It instructed its goblins and little snots to design an even more powerful fleet. These new ships were gigantic. Loaded with devious Evil's second-best creatures, the fleet set out. And that sank as well. The annoyed Evil saved his relentless anger towards the shipbuilders for later. Obviously, it would have to take care of the matter itself. With a sigh, it cast a spell and created a shadow of itself, a creature of absolute darkness and evilness. This shadow flew across the water towards the east. There, it would find a vessel, a corruptible being that would subjugate this land in the name of evil, and the shadow had the perfect target in mind.
What?
The great paladin Tanos, hero of the totally Eastern Kingdoms and a repugnantly good fellow. He was visiting the fatiguing library in Twistram with his comrades to see his foster daughter Talia.
Well now, Talia, tell me about your studies. Are you making progress with the writings of the ancient sages?
Yes, dear father. I have thoroughly digested it and have come a step closer to the good. The desire within me to do evil is defeated.
Why?
Really? Excellent. I am proud of you, my child. Continue to concentrate on your studies. I must go to Stormbreeze to clear up a few matters. I'll be back soon. In the meantime, my loyal friend Grimly will protect the country. Should anything trouble you, you can turn to him. Isn't that right, Grimly?
My arms.
Aye, of course, Tanos. I'll keep an eye on the damned elf. Your daughter. You can count on me.
Then I'll see you soon, my friends. May the goddess watch over you, and the light burn eternally.
Bon voyage, dear father. I'll make you so proud of me. Who does good is good.
Yuck. Disgusting phrases like that always leave such a nasty taste in my mouth. These abnormally good heroes, on the other hand, had no inkling of the malignity gathered to the south. One moment a herd of sheep was peacefully grazing, and the next moment, whomp! With a fulminant explosive effect that ate up half our special effects budget, the shadow entered the world. His target, a dark elf caught between good and evil, was very close. As the shadow of the unspeakably evil moved through the world, all around it died. Plants withered. Animals perished. Sort of like a picnic with my family.
En lite snutteffekt. Okej, vad ska jag... Så.
The shadow of the far-off evil found itself very, very close to Twistram. it could practically feel its target's presence.
Take these lanterns, men, and let the light of the goddess shine. For the night is dark and full of terrors. And
Get in there, see.
there's a pile of horse poo around here somewhere. I trod in it earlier. For the darkness! I mean, for the light! Sorry, I'm still in training.
No,
Yes, well, that is somewhat suboptimal. Naturally, the shadow of the almighty evil was an incredibly powerful creature. But, well, light was a bit of an issue. It would certainly be wise to stay out of the lantern light. The shadow reached the entrance to Twistram. Fortunately, this one was not closed, but it was brightly lit. Luckily, there was an unfortunate guard on patrol that the shadow was able to possess, thanks to its incredible powers. As long as it wasn't in the light.
What was that? I think there was something wrong with our last beer.
Unfortunately, the shadow's possession only lasted a short while before the guard was able to free himself. Still, it was long enough to get past the gate. The shadow's target was close. So close. Talia, the dark elf. Soon she would fight on the side of evil.
Skeptisk.
May the goddess be with you, my friends. It will soon be time to open the orphanage in the fatiguing library. Come to the big square and join in the festivities.
Well, I don't know.
I had actually kind of planned to spend the evening in the bathhouse.
Friends, this orphanage is very important to my father. Tanos, you know, the mighty paladin, the one you really don't want to offend.
Yeah, all right, we'd love to come.
Excellent! May the light of the goddess shine upon you, and let us experience this exhilarating spectacle in the big square together. Follow me, my friends, for evil, the light, I mean. Keep the light burning bright, for the night is dark and full of terrors or errors or something like that.
Okay. Bra. Jaha. Jag ska inte komma längre hit. Vänd om. Sånt här är lite tidigt. Så jävla mycket väntetid. Så man först ska fel om man får. Man sparar när man vill. Jätte.
Stop holding the lantern in my face like that, boy. I am Grimly, king of the dwarves, and I am used to the cold.
What is there?
In the distance, one could hear the unbearably good bells of a church. They must be marking the opening of the orphanage in the fatiguing library. Heroes, with lanterns, began to stream in that direction. The crossing on a red signal evil shadow swore, or would have if it had a mouth, and tried to avoid the lanterns as much as possible.
My dear friends, we're gathered here to for our goddess, and in the name of my father Tanos, I'm glad to see so many of you here of your own free will.
Ja, fan.
Finally, the time had come, and the shadow of the passes in the slow lane evil was...
My dear father would be very proud were he with us today. He would be overjoyed to see us give the young and the needy a place to live and thrive. That's why I'm happy to take this orphanage and destroy it utterly, and all of you with it.
What did she say?
Die! I feel the power within me. Oh, it's over 9,000!
Unimagined
Oh my
power
God,
surfaced
vilken
in
referens för det
Talia,
här. Det är
the black magic of the
awkward.
Dark Elves. She immediately began to unleash these powers of chaos upon the world.
I will kill you all!
The Dark Elf raged through Twistrom's inexperienced guards. She thereby built up a tremendous inner energy, which she released into the world as a focused beam, while screaming, Kamehameha! Meanwhile, in the fatiguing library, they waited eagerly with coffee and cake for Talia to show up and open the new orphanage. The energy beam hit the cake with a resounding zap and reduced it to ashes. Oh yes, and the rest of the building and everyone inside it as well. The narcissistic evil patted itself on the shoulder for this. Or it would have, but the metal armor always made such a terrible clunking noise when it tried. But then again, that's what little snots are for. Obviously, the Dispatch Shadow had found a perfect vessel in the Dark Elf. Talia had already earned the title of Employee of the Month, with the utter destruction of the fatiguing library, as well as half of Twistrom. The destruction of an orphanage and the bombardment of innocent citizens with magic missiles immediately made her the minion-wasting evil's new favorite henchperson. Her evil deeds complete, Talia withdrew into the vaults beneath the ruins of the fatiguing library. There, between the slaughterhouse and Mad Archbishop Lazarus's apartments, she prepared to create something powerful in the name of the absolutely ultimately evil. A dungeon heart, the cornerstone of any dungeon's power. Far away, Paladin of Light and Talia's former mentor, Tanos, was on his way to the Empire's capital of Stormbreeze. Naive and trusting as he was whistling cheerfully to himself, with no inkling of his foster daughter's dark deeds. Though he was aware that as a Dark Elf, she always had a core of evil in her. He had hoped to defeat it through religious indoctrination with ancient mad writings. Well, old bean, you thought wrong. Twistrom in ruins. Talia, the Dark Elf, had turned to evil and laid the fatiguing library in ruins. Now she began to build a small power base in its vaults, her first dungeon.
Alright. Verkar ha potential. Lite cringy humor, men gameplay verkar potent.
Twistrom looked like the leftovers from a heavy metal concert.
What? What have I done? Oh no! I've fallen to evil again. Father will be beside himself. He was right when he said, you either die a hero or you live long enough to see yourself become the villain. Although, in a way, it was fun to be evil. Burning things, pillaging, and showing those nasty goody two-shoes where the hammer hangs. They just look down at me anyway. My revenge will be terrible.
While Talia was delivering a typical villainous monologue, something happened around her. From the depths arose a pulsating crystal, filled with the magic-savvy evil's power. A dungeon heart. Not to be confused with those dungeon hearts from other games. We don't want to be sued. Again.
Hello, greetings. What seems to be your boggle?
Secret mental messages were exchanged between Talia and the mentally savvy evil's crystal. We could explain this in detail at this point, but that would require a 3-hour monologue on my part, and I am definitely not being paid enough for that.
Right then. I will make these people suffer for mocking me. Father's henchmen never liked me anyway, and always insulted me, calling me pointy-eared. It's time for my well-deserved revenge!
Revenge.
The game logic internalizing evil had given Talia an assignment. Out there on the surface were shamelessly good places in urgent need of destruction.
Nah, no problem. I'll take care of it. I and an evil army.
Naturally, the strategically well-versed evil did not send its new general into battle alone. A dungeon had to be built, and creatures hired to provide her with a powerful army. Of course, the sophisticatedly thinking evil already knew which way the wind blew in a dungeon. However, should it be hit by short-term memory loss, it could effortlessly look up things in the fabulous almanac. The exploring evil's little snots had discovered a room in the underground.
Ah. Okay.
The grandiose evil's helpers had not been idle. Well, they hadn't exhausted themselves either, but anyway, there were now some research projects the researching evil could pursue. The new improved research menu, TM, was now available.
Okay, so let's go home. Room.
The new improved research menu, TM, opened and gave an overview of currently available technologies. At the moment, the selection was still limited, but that would change. After all, this evil crusade had only just begun.
Ah, wait. Huh? I don't see your right.
countless spiders pouring out of a room that was accidentally unearthed. Disgusting.
Alla gubbar. Ja.
Payday! Hopefully no one has arachnophobia. A spider nest has been discovered.
For evil!
Vi styrar det.
Hey! Time to die.
Nu kan jag spela den här. Men vad fan? Kuken. Så. Det var svårt att ha markerat här.
Hey!
Jag blir kontrollerande så dra dem.
Your little snots have dug out a room.
Thanos must die.
Och så drar varje person, det var ju jättebra. Jag saknar den.
What?
Ska jag göra? Men... Jaha, så har jag dragit bort.
Blinding beams of light met the dauntless evil's creatures. They briefly squinted at the disgusting brightness. Finally, they grinned, satisfied. At last, they were able to carry the battle to the good people and were not limited to protecting themselves in a dungeon, as is the case with other representatives of the genre.
What is going on here? I feel a disturbance.
The deeds of the conspicuous evil and its henchmen had not gone unnoticed. As a matter of fact, even a blind man could see the destruction they left behind them. As idiotic heroes do, they sent out a small patrol to scout the area.
Move out, men. Have a look around and report back to me. While I would love to accompany you myself, I'm currently teaching myself to play the ukulele.
It's payday. The armies of evil reach one of those disgustingly good places that had survived the destruction of Twistrum. The ice-cold hand, I mean evil, would deal with it immediately. The little town of Good was destroyed and turned into a hotbed of evilness. Cracks formed on the surface, and something, yes, evil, rose from the depths. This evilness, in a practical spherical form, was the sweet lifeblood which flowed through the personified evil's veins. It stimulated the armies of evil and swelled their power. All this lofty blah blah without any impact on the game aside, it was another resource primarily or exclusively used for more powerful research. Delicious evilness flowed into the dungeon heart and filled it with power. New research was thus made available, which would help the dungeon to even greater power. The impatient evil immediately began to research something. The progress-addicted evil had unlocked some new research and immediately set about trying it out.
I will destroy this land. I am the evil. The bustling evil had dug into a dragon's nest.
I'm right here. Instead of out. Yeah, I need that.
Good will fall.
By the goddess of light! What happened here? The whole city is in ruins. I drank a beer right over there just yesterday.
What can I do for you?
Enemies have entered the dungeon.
Hey, where does this lead? We should take a closer look.
The first heroes had discovered the not-so-well-hidden evil's dungeon and now entered its depths. Of course, the insidious evil had already prepared a despicable reception for them. At least I hope so.
Even if that's not the case, I will kill these ridiculous do-gooders myself. They will pay for mocking me over the years. Wait a minute. What am I saying? Those are my friends. How can I plan their deaths?
Talia had chosen an extremely unfavorable time for moral doubts. Luckily, her evil dark elf heritage prevailed. Hey, Talia, you're evil, so act like it.
What? Oh, yeah, okay. Kill them all!
They're well armed. Huh. That's cool. Det var alltid efter så.
It's payday.
That's awesome.
Ah!
Well armed. Research.
For the absolute evil!
A new room has been discovered in the dungeon.
Research. Skulle vilja ha en med treasure room, säg. Ja, pengar. Jag försöker igenom den bara. Treasure room.
There are enemies in your dungeon.
Fällor, dörrar eller? Fylla igen. Fylla igen. Alla. Icke! Ja.
Death to
Payday.
all that is good. Ooh, ah. Take that, you worm!
Wow, 1000 igel. Good.
Spiders have spread throughout the underground.
Bro. Here, go back.
For the absolute evil!
Enemies have entered the dungeon.
Måste
For the absolute evil!
Okej, kanske dags för en ny attack då. Ta ut de flesta pengarna. Alright.
Take me to the enemy!
Hopefully no one has arachnophobia. A spider nest has been discovered.
Yeah. Jag ska nu.
It's payday.
Ja, jag vet inte vad det är. Det är konstigt att vi har olika sätt att markera in och ute.
Huh? The armies of evil here? Damn it all, how did that happen? It's time to call out the heavy guns. Right then, get ready to attack in waves. Excuse me, sir. Wouldn't it make more sense if we attacked all at once? Where's the fun in that? Wave after wave, that's a strategy for real men.
Thanks to the enemy's limited tactical finesse, their destruction was virtually unavoidable. So it was time to decorate for the victory celebration, to get the beer and hire the orc dancers. Okay, maybe not orcs. I shudder at the thought.
They're going to be child's play. Leave them to me. I mean, hold them back and let them hit you while I deal with them.
By the goddess of light! What happened here? The whole city is in ruins. I drank a beer right over there just yesterday.
Enemies have entered the dungeon.
Jag vill inte de som är mina då. Jag vill vad de är. Shit. Varför inte äta mycket? Jag vill ha fällor. Kan man inte göra fällor? Vad fan säger man kan göra det förut? Helt jävla.
I am the evil. Ow! He's not gonna get up.
The second island of the good was mercilessly overrun by the strategically savvy evil's hordes and turned into an evil island. Soon, more of that exquisite evilness would be bubbling to the surface. Excellent. Even better than in Dungeons 2. Not that I'm out to plug it or its fantastic add-on or anything. I'd never do that.
And stay down! Ha! Showed him.
Critical hit. Magic. Nej, konstant critical hit. Gillar upp sig lite. Och för fin den här för. Vad är det här? Thing, I guess.
It's payday.
Jag spel och trap vad fan.
Command me.
Nothing.
There are enemies in your dungeon.
Jag vet aldrig vilka är i dungeon. Ja.
The good camp has been destroyed. Victory is ours. Evil is victorious. Ha! Good thing I switched sides.
And so it was that the good camp was destroyed by the battle-wise evil's army. Now it was time to take over all of the good islands. That would be a cakewalk. Easy as stealing candy from a baby. Candy from a baby? Simple. My ass. Ever tried it? The screaming and crying and fetching their parents and family as reinforcements, and those little beasts bite pretty damn hard. Not that I have any personal experience, of course.
The ultimate, chaotic, absolute, whatever evil will be happy. I am. Father is gonna be so angry. Do you really know what you're doing? You wanted to be good. You had dedicated yourself to the light. Stop and really think about your deeds.
Can you please just stop with the Gollum thing? We already had too many Lord of the Rings gags in the last 2 games. Enough is enough.
Yeah, exactly. Just shut it, good me.
Armor, Vertuk, Rumartos, Rihamak, Mag. Fan, det var 2.
Command me.
I will command you.
Talia and the destructive evil's army had succeeded in destroying Twistram and the surrounding area. Good no longer existed in this land.
Why? What the hell happened here?
Apparently, not quite all of the good guys were defeated. The dwarven King Grimly, an old drinking buddy of Tanos the Paladin, was just touring the country with his exorbitantly large army to ensure everything was in order. Thank God the foresighted evil had provided for this contingency. The Dungeon Heart was charged with evilness and enough energy to act as a teleporter. For Talia, of course.
Ooh, good. Then all the best, brave warriors, and stop them! Right! I'm out of here.
With a plop, Talia dissipated and disappeared to a faraway and safe place. The rest of the sacrificing evil's creatures looked astonished as their general fled, but only for a moment, as they already found themselves facing an unpleasant army of good.
This is the work of that damn pointy-eared wench. I always warned Tanos that those miserable dark elves couldn't be trusted. Criminals, the lot of them. But enough is enough. I'm going to find that shifty wench and use her ears as bookmarks.
40 minuter! Bra åt helvete. Allt är för långsamt i sådana här spel.
The Gehenna Stones. After leaving the vestiges of Tristram, Talia set out for the Gehenna Stones. They served as seals to keep the demons banished in hell, where Tanos himself had exiled them. Her so-called Foster Fathers Act would soon be undone.
Oh, traps. Cool.
After her hasty departure, Talia now found herself a few kilometers, or miles, yards, or stone throws, depending on whatever crazy units are used where you are, away. She had managed to escape Grimly's forces, even if 1 or 2 evil creatures had to die. But hey, that comes with the job. The incredibly foresighted evil hadn't brought Talia here for nothing. The ancient Gehenna Stones were nearby. Tanos once banished some demonic minions to Hell and used these ancient magic relics to seal them there. Unfortunately, it was unclear how these seals could be broken.
I was there back in the day when Tanos banished the demons and sealed the stones. I can open them! But should I really do it? These unearthly beings terrorize the land and... Oh, shut up, good Talia!
So, you know how to open a seal. Excellent. Devious Evil is obviously nobody's fool. It all feels like a real plan.
I just have to get through to the seals. Then I can open them. But I need protection from the Elemental Guardians while I do so.
Okay, that should be doable. Get Talia to the seals. Guard her while she opens them. First, however, it would definitely be a good idea to build a powerful dungeon in order to be prepared for any heroes stationed in the area.
Nej, ja, jag vill ha en här under moment, ser du? Nu gör vi då. Ja, det är det. Vad fan är det?
Everything evil comes from above. God, they!
On.
Dragons have nested in the underground.
Research. Work. Research outcome.
Your creatures have inadvertently dug into a dragon's nest. There were disgustingly good places near the dungeon, which would look much better as islands of evilness instead, especially since that evilness could be used for new technologies.
What is that unbearable place doing right in front of my dungeon? Disgusting! Creatures, advance! Destroy that thing! Oh, are you sure you want to do that, Talia? Shouldn't we sit down in a circle and talk about it one more time? Are you still here? Honestly, can't you see I am busy destroying everything that is good? I don't have time for this disassociative identity order nonsense.
Stop doing the Therese and Jeanette thing.
It's payday. There's something funny going on around here. My knee is itching where I caught that arrow. Men, check it out.
The presence of Talia and the conspicuous Evil's army had not gone undiscovered, and the first miserable heroes were already on their way to the dungeon.
Where we will, of course, welcome them appropriately. Move, you lazy dung beetles! Get ready! You always have to be so unfriendly? I mean, really? Can't we just talk about this? I know this really good psychiatrist and... Don't force me to hit myself!
Yes. As our protagonist sank into one of her disputes with herself, the heroes spread across the surface. Enemies have entered the dungeon.
Jesus.
The bustling Evil had discovered a room in the underground.
Thanos must die! Help! Ow!
Kanske, men
Of evil.
Jag måste ju ha en healer innan jag går ut. Researcher, pengar, mycket pengar. Money, money, money. Har jag gjort något treasury där idag? Så det är så problemet. En treasury. En treasury också.
Enemies have entered the dungeon.
Come on, me!
Payday.
kan inte allting, jag måste så när sätter jag lite mer i alla fall. När är det
Want me to do?
Use. Okay. Det är lite tight faktiskt. Jag får de flashar på det då. Åh! Kom igen!
Delicious evilness dribbled into the thereupon feasting evil's dungeon. This could be immediately sacrificed to the excellent idea of completing one or two new research projects.
Varför fiskar de inte upp skit då? Oh. Ja. Jag tar den och den. Är det? Va? Production bonus. Oh. Okay.
Oh.
Oh. Vad kan du markera? Ja, vad ska jag säga? What?
There are enemies in your dungeon.
Ja, bra. Skit. Alltså på hemrummen. Om jag inte ens skulle ta upp det här jävla skiten. Små frustrerande grejer.
Your dungeon heart is under attack.
Spelet är kul. Men det är små konstiga kontrollgrejer som psykar.
Payday.
Create a map. What's coming in? Tinker's Cave. Tinker's Cave. Search. Bra. Okay. Tinker's Cave.
The homicidal evil had researched the Tinkerer's Cave. This perfidious room was used by the even more perfidious creatures of the Horde to build deadly traps and sturdy doors out of boring old toolboxes. The adventurous evil was keen to try this out right away. The first Tinkerer's Cave was finished and appeared solid enough. Soon the creatures of the Horde would gather here voluntarily or under the threat of beatings to build dangerous traps for unwary heroes.
Ingen mer guld någonstans.
Enemies have entered the dungeon.
Right. Börjar bli lite som en
There are countless spiders pouring out of a room that was accidentally unearthed. Disgusting.
vända.
Everything evil comes from above. Ah! Death to all that is good. Whoa! Just wait.
Payday.
Jaha. Jag tror de betalt det här alltså. Det tänkte inte jag på. Nej, äntligen. Gubbar med pengar med allt. Äta för fan. Vad är det då bra? inga som gardar? Han var...
Enemies have entered the dungeon.
Varför är inga här? Inte poängen med gardrummet. Ah, fuck. Fyra spänn kvar. Ja, det går inte så jävla bra. Get inside.
Death from above.
Oh.
Ooh!
Nu är signad där. I guess. Vi får mellan lite grann så här. Ät dem, unge. Jag ska inte göra det här.
It's payday.
Men gå och ät då, helvete.
Take me to the enemy! Ooh!
Det står hunger is not automatically. Det är leaves in that automatically.
There are enemies in your dungeon.
Vad är alla fällor då? Yeah, that's...
Payday.
Nej. Okej, dags. Ja, ja. Takes up all the quick and dissect this with them. Select all creatures. Okay. Alltså ta.
Bye bye, baby!
Ah, mitt öga. Oj, oj, oj. Ser lite svårt ut. Men ja. Jag går tillbaka. Jag går hit. Nice.
You desire? Give your orders.
Men, take a look at this. There's something strange going on here.
A local patrol unhappily stumbled into the area of the Gehenna Stones. They wouldn't leave without a fight, just the way I like it.
Just the way I like it.
Wait a moment, I just said that. Are you trying to steal my lucrative narrator contract? Back off! I know where your car is.
Nej.
Enemies have entered the dungeon.
Ja, ska låta nu. Bibila lite. Vad fan mycket pengar här. Måste jag researcha.
I am even stronger!
A vortex could now be built. This excellent room makes it possible to create direct access to Hell by means of teleportation, or the gun from Portal, in order to hire funny, or sometimes not so funny, demons. The very curious Evil soon began to build one of these vortexes.
Oh, they!
The first vortex was finished. Here, demons could be hired or resurrected after their inglorious death for a tiny fee of mana.
Mana? But I don't have any mana.
Well, that's true. Yes, but luckily the Gehenna Stones produced exactly that. What a wonderful coincidence.
sorry.
Now. There are enemies in your dungeon.
Ouch! Ouch!
Äter du inte för då? Fattar inte.
There are enemies in your dungeon.
Men äta av sig. Det är problemet. Save selected or collected instantly. Jag tycker...
For evil!
It's payday.
Jag trycker kontroll 0 igen va? Så lätt. Man skjuter. Sätta in.
Tell me what to do!
Jesus Christ.
On the enemy.
Ja. Man vill upp till flera. Utav hälften. Alla har varit ute. Alla är... Jag vet inte. Ja men det är fine. Så gå hit.
Bye bye, baby! Evil is unstoppable!
Bara en healer. Bara en healer. Nej, så är det hela tiden.
Who do you want killed? The Fuscarhana stone is very close. Soon I will destroy it. Tanos will be beside himself. Ha 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 ha!
Apparently, there were a few elemental guardians who were not particularly pleased at someone fooling with the stones. They threateningly turned towards Talia. Of course, the defense-orientated evil would protect her at all costs.
Talia, what are you doing? Why did you turn back to evil?
Father, I don't know. I keep trying to turn back to good, but a part of me... God, just shut it, you weakling. Tanos, you and your minions always look down on me. Grimly insulted me without you ever saying a word. You drove me to this.
My child, that is not true. Look inside yourself. There's still a spark of good there. Let it guide you. And not this.
Whoops! Looks like I accidentally tripped on a cable or something. Unfortunately, Tanos could not continue to talk to Talia. What a pity. Undeterred, Talia continued to work on breaking the stone seal.
Huh? What? Oh, yes, of course. Ha. Soon the seal will be broken. It's done! The seal is broken! Oh, what have I done? May the goddess forgive me! Are you still here? Oh, come on. Can't you pour your heart out somewhere else?
While Talia was occupied with herself, again, the seal was completely broken. Several portals to a strange world opened in the dungeon. From them, a few extremely committed demons immediately sprang, ready to serve the releasing from exile evil. The Gehenna Stones contained a ruthless and mighty magic that not only supplied the dungeon with mana, but was also very dangerous. This posed no problem for the danger-loving evil, as it was far away. Besides, the magic was only supposed to affect the heroes. With the patience of a fox, the insidious evil now waited for a few heroes to test this ruthless and powerful magic on a few unsuspecting guinea pigs at the cost of a little mana. It's payday.
Yeah.
The Gehenna Stone's magic was ready for a new, hopefully deadly attack. Enemies have entered the dungeon.
Evil!
As with the first stone, a number of guardians came to life to attack Talia. In its wisdom, the four-sided evil had already prepared for this. Well, let's hope so, anyway.
Talia, please, stop doing this. Return to the light. It took me many years, and I had to reload many previous save games before I finally managed to banish all these demons.
Father, I'm trying, but the evil, it's so strong.
Fight it, my child.
Don't forget that this stinker kept you locked up in a place that isn't called the Fatiguing Library for nothing for the last few years, and that his best friend is a dwarf who hates all elves. I know the narrator should normally be neutral and stay out of the story, but this guy's interjections are getting on my nerves when he's hundreds of miles away.
Right. You're not my father. You just took advantage of me. You claim to be an honest, decent paladin of good, and yet you allowed me to be mocked and insulted. I'm done with you.
Once Talia had returned to her true nature, she ignored Tanos and turned back to the stones.
This way, hobbits! I mean, evil creatures! Follow me!
Oj, oj.
There are enemies in your dungeon.
Done. The seal is broken.
Talia had conquered another Gehenna stone. This time, even without an extended dialogue with her split personality.
Well, actually, I was about to...
Good grief, just shut up. Where were we? Oh yes. Once again, a huge jet of mana shot into the sky, and a portal opened. Whether it led to the Winchester brothers, Buffies, Charmed, or whatever universe, demons, ready to kill, jumped out. As usual in good games, which still have some game time to fill, there was yet a third stone to be conquered. Talia was already on her way. The third Gehenna stone was very close. And a third time, the Guardians rose to prevent Talia from fumbling with the Gehenna stone. Who would have thought?
Talia, I beg you.
What? You again? This chap's appearing for the third time already. What is he? The God's damn spirit of Christmas or something? Just shut up and let us get on with the game.
But
That's enough! She's not coming back to you, get it? I reckon that after another 15 or 16 missions, she's gonna beat the ever-loving crap out of you.
But
My God, you just don't quit, do you? Okay. Talia, your job.
Shut up, Tanos! Can I say something here?
No.
Finally, the last seal has been broken. Death to all that is good! Power to evil!
Indeed. Talia had conquered another of the Gehenna stones. Mana into the sky, demons out of the portal, blah blah blah, and so on. You know the score. Now, only the last of the Gehenna stones had to be taken.
Wait a minute, didn't you say a total of 3 stones? That was the 3rd stone already.
No, you're wrong about that.
No, I am not wrong. You said every good game has 3 goals.
I also said any good game.
True. Not much to say to that.
Talia, normally all good things come in 3s. But after 4 stones, I will try one last time to bring you to your senses. Please stop what you are doing and return to good. Together we can wipe evil from the face of the earth.
Father, never! I will be the queen of evil and destroy all that is good!
These words should make everything crystal clear. Time to take the last stone. Unfortunately, an unsightly rock pile blocked the way to the 4th stone and had to be cleared out of the way. Stone unturned to work in a bit more game time, am I right? Very commendable. Enemies have entered the dungeon. Payday. This rock heap was tougher than expected and... What the...
Who woke me up? Was it you? My children are all dead. You will pay for that. I will crush you.
Okay, I didn't see that coming. Of course, the anticipating evil had already expected something like this and plunged into the fight well prepared. I hope. With a menacing crunch, the huge stone monster hit the ground. The stone-hewing evil had triumphed. It debated having a new bathroom built from the remains. Taking the 4th stone was now child's play. So easy, in fact, that we'll just cover it in a short cutscene and spare you all that annoying clicking. All the seals had now been broken, and the demons thirsted to unleash chaos, destruction, and folk music upon the world at the ultimate evil's side. Okay, maybe I made that last point up. Grimly was still searching for the Dark Elf and the evil around her. On the other hand, she had asserted herself against her father Tanos and resisted the forces of good. But by the time his spies, much to their horror, found the Gehenna stones destroyed, the inconspicuous evil's army had already moved on.
Timme! Totalt speltid. Eller hur?
The Ash Spring Swamplands. While